Alright, here we go. Hey everyone, Andeng here for another Lotro leveling stream. Today we are going to be making our way through Eastern Gondor, or maybe just the end of Central Gondor and then making our way on to other places. I haven't decided yet, but we're definitely getting through Central Gondor, and I'm really excited to do that. We made level 100 last stream and got our new LI and all that stuff, or our new LIs I should say, plural, because we did get 2 of them. And yeah, things are looking really good. Can't wait to just continue going through Gondor here, and hopefully, if we're lucky, before Mordor comes out, we will be able to make it to 105. But that's not today's goal. Today's goal is just to get to 101, which I think should be able to happen since we're already halfway there. And so yeah, let's make our way to this NPC in Peligir. We're now getting started at the halfway point, essentially, the city that is between the two zones here of Eastern and Central Gondor. Alright, let's talk to you, buddy.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
Gondor needs your aid.
Yes, Gondor always needs our aid. Alright, let's continue to make our way through the city here. And if you want to join me in game, feel free to just send a tell to Dangsong, D-A-N-G-S-O-N-G, and we'll get you out of the group here.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
These are troublesome times indeed.
This darkness.
Okay, plenty of stuff to do. This is one of the cooler quests, actually. And I don't remember how to get there. Yeah, we definitely have to go back around. This city, this part of this city is not set out the best, but that's because it's over the water, and every city in Lotro that's over water has issues. Alright. Or I'm just bad at navigating, one of the two. Alright, yes. Okay, mounted on here. Alright. But it's super cool that we get to come out here and do all sorts of stuff. And he's gonna interrupt us. Okay, now we can free her. There we go. Alright. So yeah, we have stuff on the other side here. And this is the part of the story where Gondor really starts to get serious, where you're dealing with freeing all these people and realizing just how horrible the enemies really are. And I think they did a really, really good job at this. Okay, 1 out of 6 of those. I remembered there being more on these, but apparently there's not. There we go. Get this next one here. I mean, this part's just fun. Beating up pirates, going from ship to ship. Just a lot of fun. Don't interrupt me. Thank you for not interrupting me, buddy. Bungorfians, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here once again. Okay, nobody up here. Ah, there's 2 on this side, that's why. And I am really ready to get some pre-order information for Mordor. At least let us know when pre-orders are going to be available, because this is just getting ridiculous. I am guessing, based on previous beta periods for expansions, that Mordor is probably 3 to maybe 4 weeks away at most. and is my guess at least based on previous beta stuff. And so that means that pre-orders should be really any day now. Any day now. And, you know, hopefully, maybe after they get back from the 4th on tomorrow's stream, they will be talking about pre-orders. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't know if they're actually even there at all this week. That might be a week-long holiday. I don't know. But I'm expecting there will be a stream tomorrow, but I don't know for sure. Alright. Let's see, nothing up here again. Okay, next one. I love that they're just all connected. You can just go from one to another. Very, very cool. You get to get the Taskmaster here as well, which is on the end. PC Games Guy, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. And we're just making our way through Central Gondor here. Oh, we got him. Alright, well, we need to get this guy anyway, regardless, so that's cool. Okay, Taskmaster. Anonymous, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Anonymous asks if there's going to be an auto to 105. I would be surprised if they don't revamp the Blessing of the Valar, or whichever one is the one that gets you to 95, I believe. I'd be surprised if they don't change that to be 105. Or at least 100 when Mordor comes out. Okay, apparently we got all those. Now we just need to rescue this final person here. Come on. It's already in use, but we're not using it. There we go. Loving the new allies. Oh, and I guess I didn't do it during the stream last time, but I did go ahead and imbue. I leveled this all the way up to level 70 and went ahead and imbued it. And so, got alright stuff, not exactly what I want. I might change those out later, or I might not, because this is kind of just a minor character that I'm having fun with, so I might just not worry too much about allies now that I got them imbued. But the main thing is all this extra tactical damage is a big deal. Okay, we rescued them. Now we can make our way back to the docks. Unless there's anything else on here, I don't think that there is. Nope. Cool. Come on, come on, come on. Already in use again. I don't know what is going on with the servers that's making it lag out there. Okay. I can go turn in all these quests. That really is one of my favorite quests in this area. Just, that's the opening to this area, or maybe it's the closing and then I think it is the closing and then the opening to the area involves more Corsair stuff, but this is just a really cool part of the story.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
How may I help you, friend? These are troublesome times indeed.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
Thomas, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Okay, now we make our way back to this guy. Alright, PC Games Guy says, question, do you want to help me to 105? If you're already near this level, then yeah. Just send me a towel to Dang Song. We'll get you out of the group here.
This darkness is a weight on my mind. There's naught but ill omens these days.
Okay. Now I get to assist all these different people now. Longorfian says, why is Pineleaf not here? He is actually doing his Wednesday night DDO group right now. And so that's why he's not here. He's doing his weekly DDO stuff.
Gondor
But because
needs your
I have
aid.
the goal of getting to 105
These are
Before-
troublesome times indeed.
the Mordor expansion comes out, I'm wanting to get as many of these streams in as I can, so we can just get it all done. Alright, I don't remember this
We
quest
woke
at
this
all.
morning to no sun, no light of day.
Yay, I fed you. Alright. Alright, thanks Anonymous for joining.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
This is like the click a million people quest. It looks like there's still some stuff back this way. Somewhere, maybe. Oh, nope, that's just the assist then. Take that off the mini-map. There we go. Okay, yeah, there's more stuff up that way. We'll go this way first. Thomas asks, Pineleaf is staying Sun Games guy? No, he just has a group that he does on Wednesday night because he's part of
How may I help you,
DDO
friend?
players. He does DDO with Drac, and they do a weekly podcast Monday nights for DDO stuff. And PC Games Guy says level 11. That is a little bit on the low side. I'd recommend actually just enjoying the game as you go through. That's the biggest tip I would give to new players is do not rush
These are
on
troublesome
your first
times
character
indeed.
to 105. Don't do it. You will regret it. Enjoy the journey. Lotro is about the journey. At least I think so. I know everybody plays games differently, but out of all the MMOs I've played, Lotro is the one that is most
How
about
may
the
I help
journey
you,
out
friend?
of any of them. The reason this one is rushing up is because it was really just a bingo boffin character, and for some reason I feel compelled to get it all the way up to cap before Mordor, and so that's what I'm trying to do.
This darkness.
But on my
There's a
main
weight on my
champion,
mind.
I play through
There's
every
naught
quest
but ill omens
that
these days.
I can. That's a solo quest or a group quest, small group quest that I can do really quickly. So I've done every solo quest for the most part. Like maybe one or two I missed, but almost every quest that's solo I've done on my champion. Bungorfians asks, was Moria hard for you? Not as hard as Angmar was. Angmar was difficult because I was kind of rushing through stuff, which I wish I hadn't been, but I was at the time. And so I was actually, I think I was like 4 or 5 levels under when I went through the epic story through Angmar, just because the story was so good in the epic story when you get that far in the book of volume 1 that I wanted to just go ahead and finish it. And then I went back and did all the side quests and all that stuff,
This
but
darkness.
I was really
is a weight
underleveled
on
for
my mind.
Angmar. Moria was much easier because I was overleveled at that point because I had done all the different side quests that you had to do. So I was like 53 or 4 before I even stepped foot in Moria. Okay, apparently we found a missing heirloom. There we go. Martin, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Martin says, Angmar's terrible leveling curve or quest XP needs to be reworked for 40 to 50. They did somewhat revamp it recently to where it's not all over the place.
How may I help
I
you,
haven't
friend?
gone through it since they did that, but supposedly it's much better and it flows a whole lot better than it used to. I know the first half of
There's
Moria
naught but
flows
ill
way
omens
better
these
than it
days.
used to. The problem is that they didn't revamp the epic story with that, and so the epic story goes all over the place, but the side quests go in a logical order now, so it's even harder to go through because you're not being tugged along with the epic story like you were, so you're having to quest back and forth even more than before.
What has become of our lords in the east, I wonder?
Ah, PC Games Guy says he already has a 98 on Arkenstone. Very
The
cool.
soldiers of Gondor have all gone to war, and we are left to fend for ourselves.
Okay. So yeah, that was those quests. Martin says, I feel like I always hit a brick wall at 40. Yeah, I can see that. I know that the difficulty goes way up at that level for sure. And it's also just a weird point to be questing. My advice would be to do...
darkness.
Evendom typically gets you most of the way there. Then go to Florikel and do that area because I think that's one of the cooler areas. Literally cooler, but I think it's one of the better areas in Lotro. I really enjoy just the plot lines through there and all that stuff, and so I'd recommend Florikel as your next filler zone, kind of, or going through part of Angmar, but that's what I would recommend. Alright, and Matthew, welcome to the chat as well. And yeah, leveling up does get a lot harder. There's a much bigger jump. But the thing with Angmar is that there's, I believe, according to like the quest pack, there's like 200 quests in Angmar. And so there's more quests to make up for the lack of XP. Zane, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Okay, we're supposed to observe the farewell. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, well, we can't go that way yet. Did his quest ring just not pop up? Located at the shipyard. Okay. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Thomas says he does Evendom till 34 and then he goes to the Misties. Yeah, I can see that. Alright, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Oh. There we go, we found him. Okay. Yeah, Moria does have a lot of dead ends, but I found once you really go through it one time, it's much easier after that. It's very painful that first time to figure out where everything is, and it can get very frustrating. So I actually recommend doing like a level at a time in Moria, and then taking a break with an alt or something like that, just as a breath of fresh air.
These are troublesome times indeed.
There we go. Okay.
Gondor needs your aid. These are troublesome times indeed.
Well, we're getting there. We still have a long ways to go, but we're getting towards 101. Alright, buddy.
This darkness is a weight
Investigate
on my
the area near the river. Okay. Continue. Thomas asks, Andang, have you ever tried Black Desert Online? I have not. I've wanted to, but I'm kind of wanting to do Elder Scrolls Online first, get back into that. And that's not looking like it's happening anytime before Mordor. And so right now, it looks like I'm just not going to be trying any MMOs soon. Okay. And yeah, level cap is still 105, but is going up with Mordor to 115 in like a month or two, whenever Mordor comes out.
How may I help you, friend?
There's naught but ill omens these days.
Okay,
How
more
may I help
quests.
you, friend? Gondor needs your aid.
Once I get to 101, I think I'm just gonna leave this part of the world because it's kind of annoying at times. I feel like that it's a lot of just not interesting things. I'm definitely not gonna do Eastern Gondor because I don't like that whole part of the game. Okay. Collect stolen supplies. Oh, hello. And Thomas says ESO is very story driven, very good questing. Black Desert Online isn't too big on stories, but the combat and activities you do in the world is superb. Cool. I really like it when, you know, gameplay and story is both really well integrated, but sometimes you can't get that, and so I like really good gameplay or really good story separately as well. I feel like depending on the class, Lotro has either really great gameplay or not the best gameplay. Just personal preference though, and so that's, you know, what's so great about Lotro, I think, is that it has a very diverse class group. Although Loremaster, Minstrel, and Runekeeper are kind of all the same, with subtle differences, but pretty close together. Alright, discovered the monument, awesome. Matthew says, what zone in Lotro is your favorite and least favorite? That's a good question. As far as favorite, I don't know. I've had a lot of different favorites recently. I feel like least favorite though is probably the Lone Lands, almost for sure, just because it's just so boring. I wish that wasn't the last free zone they give to players, just because it's not very good. As far as favorite zones, I have a lot of them. I really like Florical. I really like the revamped version of Evendim. I like the Riders of Rohan side of Rohan, I think is pretty good. I like the whole Fire Anorian and Old Anorian, not from a quest perspective, but from a visual perspective, just because you have all the beacons. I feel like questing is not the best here, but because it's so spread out and you have to travel all over the place. But I feel like visually this is one of the coolest places. And the Woz's area is pretty cool. I recently really like North Ithilien, just because of how beautiful it is. It's one of the best looking areas we've had in Lotro. It has no dawnless day. It's just a good place all around, and it gets you through very quickly. Plus it's got hidden ranger camps and all sorts of other stuff, so it's pretty cool. From a gameplay perspective, I'm trying to think what my favorite zone was. It's been a long time since I've gone back through and really thought about that. But yeah, I did say Eastern Rohan, I guess, was pretty good. And Great River. That's the one I was trying to think of. Great River is probably my favorite zone from a questing perspective. It has really good story throughout the entire area. I feel like it's one of the best questing areas throughout Lotro. I feel like they did it the best there and haven't really done it as well since. Okay, I don't know how that person just died, but sure. I'm not going to complain. Alright. Yeah, Thomas says his favorite is South Ithilien. Least favorite is Lamadon. I can definitely see that, yeah. Central... As far as the Gondor areas go, Eastern Gondor is my least favorite, and Central Gondor is fairly close behind. Western Gondor is another really good place. It's just so beautiful there, and I feel like the questing's really good there as well. You have the whole coming out of the Paths of the Dead thing, and then going through the various areas after that, and some of the story moments are just really amazing, especially with like the Swan Knights and everything that goes on there. So Western Gondor is another good place in my opinion. I actually really like Moria, Matthew. I feel like it definitely has its moments and then also has some things where it's really frustrating, but it's meant to be frustrating at times. And I know that that seems like a weird thing to say, but Moria really does try to make itself be a dungeon, and so it really is probably one of the best designed dungeons, if not the best designed dungeon in Lotro as far as open landscape stuff. I think that they did just a fantastic job. Plus they have all the instances that are really good throughout Moria as well. Alright, we're going out of the area, so let's make our way back into the area. Alright, and Bongorfian says, why don't you play Minecraft? Quite honestly, just because everybody else plays Minecraft on YouTube, and the people who play Minecraft on YouTube are, unless you're already a really big established Minecraft YouTuber, really hard to grow your channel off of Minecraft, just because there's so many players playing the game. To be growing channels, you really have to focus on a game that's not as popular that you enjoy. And every time I've tried Minecraft, I don't like it that much, for the simple reason that I'm kind of crafted out. And so any type of crafting game or game that involves any type of crafting, I just have not been able to get into since I had done all the way back with RuneScape. I feel like RuneScape did a fantastic job with crafting, and since then I've not played a game that has been as good as my memory of RuneScape is. RuneScape probably wasn't that good with crafting, but my memory of it was that it was really good, and it introduced me to crafting. I got so involved in that, and since then I just haven't been able to really dive back in. Alright, oh my gosh, why? Welcome to the chat, nice to have you here. Alright, and they say that they're 105. What server do I play on? This is on Landerville server. That is my main and pretty much only server I play on, at least right now. I have dabbled on other servers. Some of the servers I've dabbled on are no longer in existence because of the whole server merges. I originally was on Imladris, and obviously with the server merges that's no longer around. But I actually moved to Landerville before any of that stuff was announced, just because of the sheer amount of events like Weatherstock and stuff like that, and because of all the different podcasters that were on Landerville. I wanted to be able to join in with them, and so that's why I moved over to Landerville.
These are troublesome times indeed.
This darkness is a weight on my
There we go,
mind.
making our way there.
These are troublesome times indeed.
Alright, and Thomas says, your username used to be PVMP Andang, didn't it? Yes, it did. I changed just
Gondor
because I
needs
stopped
your
doing
aid.
PvP stuff. And people kept asking when am I going to get back into PvP stuff. And so instead of actually covering PvP stuff again, I decided to change my name away from PvP Andang just because I got really burnt out on PvP. I wouldn't say I'm burnt out anymore, and I might get back into PvP someday, not before Mordor, but really because of the balancing and everything like that, it just got me out of it.
There's not but
I was
ill omens
tired
these
of
days.
every update throwing the balance out of whack, and decided to move on to do other stuff, and so that's what I've been doing since. Plus, also, PvP ending for anything other than Lotro didn't make sense anyway either. Ending really doesn't make sense either, but that's kind of where I'm at, where I
How
just
may
took
I
off the
help you,
PvP
friend?
for other games as well. Yeah, we gotta be careful, blah, blah, blah. He's got a cool cape, though. Thomas says, I played on Landry for several months and never noticed you. I was on Landerwolf for quite a while. I did a full PvP show that went on for a whole year on Landerwolf. I did all sorts of stuff PvP wise on Landerwolf. These guys are hitting hard. Matthew says PvP in Lotro has seemed really empty for a while. Maybe that's just my experience, not sure. It depends on what server you're on for sure. I've found that it has been extremely empty on Landerville recently, in like the last couple months. I haven't played it within the last couple months, but I came back to it a couple months ago and it was pretty empty, which was very disappointing, and nobody wanted to get in groups, and so it really didn't sell me. Man, I'm gonna die here. I tried to do it in time, but I didn't. Alright, we're gonna hopefully make our way back inside of the instance. That was a lot of people. That's a solo quest. Mongorfian says, I know another channel that built their channel off Minecraft and now has 15 million subs, but it's fine if you don't like it. It's not so much that I don't like it, it's just that it's very hard to get back into Minecraft at this point. And I could be wrong, Minecraft could be really big, but I do know that Pineleaf is really struggling to grow his channel doing Minecraft stuff. It hasn't really helped him grow that much at all, as far as I know. And it's just, there's so many people there. And so it makes it very hard to grow with that. And I'm just not that interested in it. So. And yeah, PvP varies very greatly between servers. Alright, well, we're still getting XP. Let's hope the guy's still alive. And try to go mounted there. Oh, apparently we aided him. That's good. He has full health. That's a good sign. Alright, confronting this guy.
This is intolerable!
Thomas says, I know 10,000 other Minecraft channels that never reach 3-figure sub numbers. It's very hard to stand out with Minecraft just because there are so many channels that are covering it. And we are going to be hurting again. I'm going to go down and let him fight for a while. I don't know why this is so difficult. Except that we're really not that powerful. Soup, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. And they say, can someone help me out? When I try to get in beta from Bulwer, I get a 404 error. I don't know. I'd recommend asking support. You can find them by going to support. Well, it used to be support.turbine. I don't know where it is anymore. So, chat room, if you know where the current support stuff is, feel free to let that be known in the chat. And yeah, I should be running around and kiting, but it's fine. There we go. Would be more than you deserve, but I got a swift death, so...
How may I help you, friend?
Alright. Travel now. But beta right now is closed, but you shouldn't be getting a 404 error.
How may I help you, friend?
Okay, tactical mitigation. We get that extra class trait point, which is nice. That's kind of the only reason I've stuck around here in Central Gondor, is just for that extra class trait point. Alright, critical rating, tactical mastery would be good. Alright, we got plenty of tactical mastery on our other stuff, so I think I'm going to go for crit rating on this one. Okay. Let's see, we need more of these essences. Which one's this one? Agility. Don't need agility. And I know you can combine them later on. I'm not wanting to do that on this character. This one's just a minimalist. Alright. So now we should have 2 trait points and can go further into this one. Let's see. Inspire Fellows costs less power, heals more morale, and briefly reduces incoming damage. Or applies short-term power, restoring Anthem cooldown. That would be nice. We need to do that one. And then this one's healing, I believe, all the way. So this one is the other one. So yeah, let's go for Anthem stuff. Okay. Matthew asks, does anyone know the difference between tactical rating and physical rating? So, the difference between tactical and physical is that it affects different skills. So, for example, these skills, as you can see right up here at the top, I can't show you with my mouse because it'll go away, but if you look, it says Perfect Ballad, and then the very next line, it says Tactical Skill. That means that it is tactical. So any type of tactical mastery will help it out. If it says physical, which I should be able to find, I should have some skill that's somewhere around here. So there we go, melee skill. That one would benefit by physical mastery. So tactical mastery only helps if you have tactical skills. So your minstrels, your lore masters, I believe rune keepers as well. Anybody that's doing stuff that is kind of, I don't know how to put it, basically any type of mage type stuff is what you would need tactical skills for. Or in this case, music type stuff for minstrel. But basically, non-melee stuff and non-range stuff, you want tactical. Alright, buddy.
Gondor needs your aid.
Let's see what that one is. Yep, I was afraid of that. That's Eastern Gondor. We don't want that. Oh, hey, we finished off all the quests in that area. So now we are just going to go all the way up to the first circle of Minas Tirith. So... let's see. Alright, we'll make our way there. Let's get this stable first.
How may I help you, friend?
Okay. Is it worth a mithril? I don't think so. I think we're gonna go full landscape if I cannot interrupt myself. And we'll make our way all the way to Minas Tirith. The scenic route. And Thomas says physical is directly weapon inflicted. The blow of a sword, take an arrow. Tactical is all the weird stuff like fire damage and all that stuff. So yeah, music and everything else. And yeah, confusing if you have never thought it through or heard of it before or played a character that has tactical stuff. I know on my champion I was thinking that tactical was actually useful because I didn't know, I figured it was like something to do with tactics or something. This was early on in my Lotro days and didn't realize that other classes had things that were specifically meant for tactical type stuff. And so it can be confusing if you don't play a character that has tactical type skills. Alright, and looks like we're having a bit of internet latency here. So okay, should be back now. Just quickly switched to the other. There we go. And lore and things like that. And yeah, agility can be important, especially if it is your main stat on your character. Knowing what stat is your main stat for your class is extremely important. Okay, I think we were supposed to go down there, but I don't remember if there's actually a way through here. I don't think there is, but they might have added it. We're gonna fight our way through the camp to find out if I can speak. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Lag, lag, lag! All right. Okay. Yep, still out of combat. Good. Our sword is out there for a second, so I was worried. Alright, I hate that you can't jump over some of these things in this area. And yeah, if you hover over your stats, it'll tell you how much it gives. So that if you hover over will or whatever, it'll show how much that contributes to the different things. Alright, and Neptune12, welcome to chat. Nice to have you here. And Neptune says there's a way around left, like a broken bit of the wall. I thought there was, but I just hadn't remembered. Alright, and Bongorfian says, what's your favorite questing area? For doing quests in particular, it is probably... what was that place? I'm horrible remembering. The Great River. Great River is my favorite. I don't know why I couldn't remember. Just got really nice flow and story and everything you'd want. Dunland was pretty good as well. Although it gets kind of long, I feel like, towards the end. After you've done it one time. I don't think it has as much replay value. Okay. And we pulled another one. Of course we pulled another one. Right, you know what? We're just gonna do that. Goodbye, buddy. Matthew says, definitely going to need to change up some of my gear now. That happens pretty often and is definitely going to be needed if you're going anywhere near Mordor anytime soon. And Diane, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Nope, can't go that way. Alright. Thomas says, Rise of Isengard may be my least favorite expansion. Okay then, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Just because the groups I had at the time and stuff like that, I feel like I had a lot better nostalgia. We grouped together through all the different areas and it was a lot of fun. If you didn't have that, or if you had that throughout multiple expansions, I could see how that was the case, but Rise of Isengard was when I had the best groups and the best everything, and we were going through and being a raiding kin and going through all that stuff, and it was just a lot of fun. And yeah, the prisoner epics were pretty awesome. Alright, there we go. Look at that. A hole in the wall as promised. There we go. Made our way inside. Now we can just make our way straight to Minas Tirith. So yeah, reminding myself of that was probably worth not taking the Mithril, I think. Because it's been so long since I've made my way through there. Alright, all the legendary items leveling up here. And we're going to get dismounted. There we go. And we're running into everything. This is what happens when you go through your stuff. When you're making your way through Pelennor Fields. There we go, let's get out of here. There is Minas Tirith, always fun to look at, even though it adds a ton of lag. And man, we are just going from hiding spot to hiding spot here, alright. Alright, and Soup says, what is your favorite looking area in the game? Mine's probably North Ithilien. North Ithilien is very pretty. I kind of already answered that earlier, but yeah, I liked North Ithilien. Great River I think looks good. Lothlorien's really pretty. Lots of different places. That's one thing Lotro does great about just all visuals pretty much everywhere. I'd say probably at this point, just because of how much better they've gotten, not the starter areas. But I thought Rohan looked really good. I really liked just the open plains and the way that they had everything going there with like the roaming horses and everything like that. I thought was pretty good. Alright, we're nearly inside. Also, Western Gondor has some of the most beautiful places with the sea there and everything. Absolutely great. Dol Amroth just looks fantastic. Even though it does have all of the the bearded statues and everything like that. I feel like they went a little bit overboard on that. But every other part's pretty cool. Alright, you can see the lag of Minas Tirith here. Alright.
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith? Shame you couldn't see it in better days.
Okay, we need to find the Stablemaster so that we can get that unlocked, because Minas Tirith's an important one to have. Alright, on the other side here. And yeah, parts of
How may I
Angmar look
help
really
you,
good as
friend?
well. The landscape design team just in this game is absolutely amazing. The stuff that they can do with the stuff that they have is fantastic. They make the most of everything, I think. I do wish that they'd create some new assets more often than they do, but I also understand the limitations, especially at this point, that they have to do. But man, Mordor actually looks really cool. I feel like they did a great job with the visuals of the fortresses and making them be diverse but still have an overall theme. I thought was really cool, and they have some nice new assets that they're using with that are pretty cool. Soup says, I wonder what we'll do after destroying the ring. Easterlings, maybe? There's so much that we can do. First of all, the War of the Ring's not even over after the ring is destroyed. There's still Scouring of the Shire, there's still all the stuff that happens at Mirkwood and Lake Town and everything that goes on there in Erebor, which it looks like based off of their preview stuff that they showed of a crafting area that we might be going to Erebor in some capacity, so that should be pretty exciting. But there's so much stuff that can be happening after retaking Gundabad. There's retaking Moria for real this time that they have to do, where several years later they actually eventually retake Moria in sometime in the 4th Age, which is still like 30 years from now. There's all the stuff that Aragorn does where he and his son actually go not only take over a huge portion of the coastal part of Harad. They never take the inside, but they take a huge part of the coastal area of Harad. They also take on Easterlings and Rune and take over that whole area. So Aragorn and his son are going to be taking over large sweeps of Middle-earth. I mean, look how big Harad is. If we went all the way down to this Corsair area here, that would be essentially like this whole length of this area, maybe not that far, but like up to this river, maybe all the way down to Gondor, again down here. So there's a huge swath of land that they would be able to add just by going into Harad. I mean, it would be like another Gondor essentially, as far as the amount of time it would take to go through all that. And then there's Rune and everything else that they have to do up in here in Rovanion with Wilderland and Dale and all that stuff. And so honestly, as far as like the amount of stuff that they can do, they've only covered a year's time in Middle-earth. They haven't even done that, I believe. Because until Frodo returns, it hasn't even been a year, if I remember right. So they haven't even covered a year's time in Middle-earth. I'm assuming that they are going to be able to do whatever they want all the way into the 4th Age and just continue to tell their own story here in Middle-earth. And so if that's the case, they're able to just write stuff that hasn't really been written about, except for there's like birthdays and like a few dates of when things are taken. And so they're going to be able to go throughout so much stuff just doing that kind of stuff.
Gondor needs your aid.
And so lots of potential there.
We can only hope that the Rohirrim will arrive before it's too late. Is this your first time in Minas Tirith? Shame you couldn't see
When
it
they,
in better days.
when Made of Lions said that they were just getting started, I believe it was Made of Lions, one of the developers said they were just getting started. They really were, because there's so much story that they can tell just in the 3rd Age, let alone whatever happens in the 4th Age. So there is plenty of content. If anything, there's actually more content left to be telling than they have already covered. And Bongorfian says, are you going to Summer Festival on any character? I really don't do festivals, for the main reason that I would just much rather be either grinding through other areas in Lotro, or, you know, experiencing the new content or what have you, or honestly just playing other games, because I like so many different types of games that for whatever reason I just can't get into festivals, except for the October one. The fall one is pretty cool, and I have done that one quite a bit, but other than that, I don't know why I'm attacking this warg, but oh well. And yes, Thomas, we did all of that stuff in less than a year. It's been like 6 months or something like that. It's been a really short amount of time. And Soup says, I was just saying that after we destroy the ring, isn't all the evil dissolved? I thought that's what had happened. I'm probably wrong, though. So, Sauron is defeated. We don't really know what happens in Mordor. We do know that there's still all the people of Harad that are enemies with Gondor. They've been at wars for centuries with Gondor. There's still the people of Rhûn, who are people to deal with. And there's still whoever's going to be power grabbing in Mordor, is what the Standing Stone Games team seems to be telling. So everybody's vying for power in Mordor, and there's still these huge areas. Harad, as you can tell by the map, is way bigger than Mordor. They are not as big of a threat, though, just because they're a big threat, but they're not as big of a threat just because they're not out to instantly kill Gondor. They're out to take it over and just become rulers type thing, instead of destroying all of humanity, as Sauron kind of wants to do. And so, you know, different goals makes Mordor be the more instant threat, obviously. But there's still so many enemies throughout all of Middle-earth. And honestly, that's just from the area we know. You know, we don't know really what's beyond that even. And so there's still, like, this is probably a fourth of Middle-earth that's all filled with enemies. And then there's this area here and then some of the stuff up here that we still have to deal with, so that's probably an eighth or so. And so there's still quite a lot of stuff to be doing after we get done with Mordor. It looks like we did kill everybody, but that we needed to for this quest, but did not notice before I needed to attack that guy. Alright. And yeah, Thomas is right. Sauron did not represent all evil. Spiders, for instance, are their own evil. Balrogs aren't allied to Sauron, but only Morgoth dragons are their own evil too. Yeah, there's plenty of evil creatures and things like that as well still left in Middle-earth. But it does allow all of Eriador to reunite with the New Kingdom, which will be a huge thing when that happens, where we'll be presumably questing through there and helping Aragorn to reunite all of Eriador. That's a huge task that we have to do. And then, you know, setting up all the stuff, not to mention all the weddings and all that stuff that's going to be going on. So there's still plenty of stuff to do, and that's just the stuff that Tolkien wrote about. As we know, Standing Stone Games is not afraid to make up their own plot lines, and so legitimately, Lotro really could, just off of Tolkien stuff, easily go for another 10 years. Easily. There's more than enough story to be going for another 10 actual real-world years.
We can only hope that the Rohirrim will arrive before it's too late.
And then, sometime in the Fourth Age, there's another evil that's teased about that rises back up that we're going to have to deal with. That's like the growing shadow, or I forget what it is. It's something to do with shadow. And so there's all of that we'll have to deal with. And so there's still plenty of stuff to go on. Speak with the second Gondorian warrior, alright. Bungorfian says, what expansions or update do you think will be next after Mordor? My guess is more Mordor. After that, I really don't know. There's so many different options.
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith?
I also don't know
Shame you couldn't see
when
it
they're
in
going to be
better
covering
days.
Erebor and, you know, all the stuff uploaded by the Link Mountain. I think that would be cool to include Mirkwood and Erebor and all that stuff as a next big update after Mordor. Beyond that, my guess would be going to Harad way long after, you know, they do more stuff. Probably reuniting the kingdom and all the stuff in Eriador with the Scouring of the Shire is definitely going to be before Harad. So we'll be doing all that. Then some point in the future, my guess is the next expansion would be having to do with Harad. Update, there's going to be, you know, probably at least a year or two of updates though before that even happens.
When the time comes to fight,
Okay,
you'll
so
be
that's
ready.
all
The
the stuff
enemies
that
of
we
men approach.
don't need.
I
Let's see.
hope you are
Speak
prepared.
to the second Gondorian warrior. I guess you're not the second Gondorian warrior,
When the time comes to fight,
because I think all that stuff
be
is
ready.
from the previous area. Matthew says, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do post-Fellowship. Well, Fellowship already gone, actually. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do post-Ring and all of the stuff once they get away from the core part of the Fellowship and allow us to go on our own adventures. Because, honestly, I think that Lotro's at its... maybe not at its best, but I think it's much more interesting when we're able to go and do our own stuff. I feel like Wildermore, that's another zone I really like questing in, is Wildermore. I feel like Wildermore was one of the best examples of them doing their own thing and
Is this
doing
your
it
first
fairly
time
well.
in Minas Tirith?
I know a lot of people had issues
you
with the
couldn't
giant
see it
stuff,
in
but
better
honestly that
days.
went along with where Tolkien drew from. Tolkien drew from the same mythology where those giants existed, and he even had giants of his own, and so I feel like Nurzim wasn't that big of a lore stretch as far as places that Tolkien takes inspiration from and what went on. Alright, apparently we probably should have stayed up there to go to the next wall, so I guess we have to go back this way. But yeah, they have so much opportunity, and I'm excited for Mordor, but I think I'm more excited to see what they do after Mordor. Except for the ring. I want to see how the ring ends, because Maid of Lions keeps teasing that he has a really cool way of doing that, so I want to see what that is. Oh man, we're going the wrong way. Alright.
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith? Shame you couldn't see it in better days.
Yep, armies everywhere. We're totally screwed.
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith?
Okay, now we
Shame
speak
you
to
couldn't
Ingold.
see it in better days. When the time comes to fight, we'll be ready. Is this your
Now we have
first
to
time
figure
in
out
Minas
which
Tirith?
one.
Shame you couldn't see it in better
Should
days.
be over 100.
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith? Shame you couldn't see it in better days. We can
But
only
they're not.
hope
Alright.
that the
We're gonna
Rohirrim
accept
will
stuff and
arrive
see
before
what
it's too late.
falls where.
The enemies of men approach. I hope you are prepared. We can only hope that the Rohirrim will arrive before it's
Okay,
too
that's
late.
all
Is this your
Oldenorian.
first time in Minas Tirith? Shame you couldn't see it in better days. Is this your first time in Minas Tirith?
Yeah, so that's all good.
Shame you couldn't see it in better days. The enemies of men approach. I hope you are prepared.
Okay.
Is
I
this
don't
your
think-
first time in Minas Tirith? Shame you couldn't see it in better days.
Okay, yeah, that's Oldenorian Pelennor, which we don't want to be doing. So yeah, we want to actually cancel that one. Cancel that one. And the others are repeatable. So now we should be able to just go... up to the north. Although we want to be doing Far Northern stuff. Hang on. We don't want to do any Eldenorian stuff. What am I thinking? Alright. Where did that go? There we go. Okay, got rid of all that stuff. We are not doing that. We're just going to go on to Far Northern, which requires us to go way up to Kratos. Okay. Now that we got that cleared up. Gorfian says, to me the Easterlings are a mystery because they aren't in much except for the war. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're all about because it could be something totally different. And yeah, I really liked it, Neptune, when the story didn't depend on the Fellowship at all. We were just doing our own thing. They were able to write their own story with their own enemies and their own really cool plot lines, and I felt like it was some of the best that they had done. Recently, we've been just following Aragorn and trying to finish off this Fellowship story, which I understand because this is some really epic stuff. This is the most epic part of the whole Fellowship drama. But I can't wait till that's done because I really do think that Lotro's at its strongest when it's not doing what's in the books and telling its own interesting stories. And I think it would be cool if they used some of their, like, Pelennor type stuff in another battle sometime down the line that was totally unrelated to anything Tolkien wrote about and just tell their own battle story. I think would be pretty cool because we haven't really seen them do a large scale war with the new technology that they have, and so I think it would be pretty cool.
How may I help you, friend?
Alright, got that.
Well, what is it then?
Alright, now we need to go investigate the drumming sounds, which are way over there, so we need to go up there. Alright. Matthew says the Easterlings seem really desert-based to me. I don't know, but I don't think they are. I think that they're somewhat, but not entirely. I think that they're much more of a tropical type environment than they are a desert type environment. Harad definitely is. Harad's got the desert environment covered. But I don't think that the Easterlings are. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're not. And yeah, Harad and the Corsairs are both down in Harad, because the Corsairs are actually way down here. There's the Corsairs of Umbar, and Umbar's like way down here along the coast. Or maybe it's here. It's one of the two. It might be here, actually. But, you know, it's way to the south. And so it'd be cool to explore that along with Harad and have those two groups and see how they interact with each other after Mordor falls. If they're fighting each other, if they're not, I think it would be pretty cool. Matthew says he thinks he mixed up Harad and the Easterlings. Yeah, it is tough to not mix them up, especially if you're not the most familiar with Tolkien stuff. You might be, and just mix them up as well, but I know that at first I was getting the different groups confused, especially if you don't play Lotro first, because I'm talking about way before Lotro stuff, and you know it's clearly broken up. Before that, it's much more confusing what each of these groups are like when you're just reading the books. Okay, yeah, we need to head to the north, I think. I do not remember where this crossing point is. Oh, it's way to the south. We had to go back inside Minas Tirith to be able to, or you know, near Minas Tirith, to the south of the city, to go do that. So yeah, we gotta go all the way up to the north here now. And yeah, the Easterlings do seem to be a cult. They have all of their sorceress type stuff, and so yeah, they do seem to be definitely a cult type. And then Haradrim do seem to be more like the people of Gondor in that regard. And so yeah, I do agree, Thomas. They seem to be much more. And Thomas says Easterlings also kept slaves. I believe Haradrim did as well. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did. Corsairs definitely did. And they're down by Harad, so I'm assuming that Harad does too, but maybe not. Okay, so now we have to decide if we want to go down through the forest, which I think would be the most logical way, or do we want to go all the way over there and get that stable first? I think we're going to go down through the forest first. Hopeful student, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. And they do say, what do you think about Easterlings, Haradrim, Southrons being black? Should they be that way in game? Should they adhere to the lore in this case? I don't think that's against the lore. I'm pretty sure that they are multi-ethnic, and I'm pretty sure Gondor is as well. I could be wrong, but I believe they are. But I don't think there's anything in the lore that says everybody in Middle-earth is Caucasian. And yeah, Thomas says the lore is only specific on Númenóreans and Rohirrim. That's what I thought. And honestly, I think Gondor can be the same way because of its close proximity to Harad and the history that it has. There's no rule that all of them have to be Caucasian either, just because of how integrated they've been with the different peoples of Middle-earth, that I think that, you know, there's no rule that says they have to be either. And so, for example, with what like Shadow of War does, where they're, you know, adding in ethnicity into the world, I don't think that that's actually against the lore at all. I could be wrong, but I don't think Tolkien ever said anything of that sort. And yeah, Neptune, when they updated the character models starting in Dunland and made them be much more diverse in just their own design within like a group of people, it was fantastic. It added so much more detail and customization to Lotro. Lotro had to adapt because there was no way they could do all the amount of Dunlanding NPCs that they had to do without adding in a lot more unique type NPCs, because otherwise everybody was just going to run together. And I'm really glad they did, and glad that it does it at somewhat auto-generation so that they can speed up the development process. And, you know, obviously for key NPCs, they do focus, I think, on making sure that they're a specific way, but for the general NPCs, they're able to have a really, really diverse group of people with, you know, different clothes and things like that by being able to have that type of tech, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, we found the Woses. Fantastic. We're not making it very far very quickly here. Alright,
Footsteps
it's repeatable.
in the forest.
I don't know if I want to actually quest through here. Because their quests are kind of annoying. Just because you have to go... Just traveling in and out of this place and then throughout the zone is kind of annoying. What do I want to do? I think this is the way up to the... I'm trying to remember how to get around here. Okay. Let's see, I think it's this way. And yeah, the Woses are a cool group of people. They did a really good job with this whole area. I just don't know if I want to be doing this. I think I'm going to do a skirmish real quick. Just as kind of like a palate cleanser. And to hopefully get some quick XP here.
While the Grey Company journeyed south to the aid of Aragorn, we came upon a Dunlending hag named Gwillian, called the Old Woman of the Mountain. She sought to raise an army of ancient evil to aid the White Hand against Rohan. It was our duty, Amlon's and mine, to keep her at bay.
At bay. All right. Thomas asks, what are your favorite types of monsters in Lotro? Well, it's certainly not half-trolls, because those guys are annoying with the amount of stuns that they have. Really, any stunning enemy I don't like in Lotro, for the most part. I really enjoyed back when they had, like, the large group of goblins that you'd be able to attack all at once. I kind of wish that they'd bring back that type of combat, because I thought having, you know, multiple enemies in a single group was a pretty cool idea, and I wish they would have gone further with that instead of continuing with these single enemies going through, because it makes it much more interesting. SWTOR does a really good job, I think, of having, you know, groups of enemies all together in really interesting ways, kind of as just one single mob. I feel like with orcs and things like that, that would have actually fit Middle-earth really well. And so I think if they had like orcs in groups of like 2 or 3, and then goblins in groups of like 5 or 6, it would actually fit the lore even better than what they're currently doing in Lotro, where you're having, depending on your power level, you know, you're having kind of a tough time fighting certain orcs and stuff like that. I feel like it's just kind of crazy. There are some orcs that are tough, but for the most part, I feel like orcs are overpowered in this game. As compared to how they are in the lore, not actually, orcs aren't that hard to defeat in Lotro, but compared to how they are in the lore, I'm saying that they're stronger than they probably should be. We're gonna run back to the Rangers. There we go. Cool. Alright, we'll leave you be. Yeah, the Kerrig are pretty cool as well. A lot of the stuff in Moria I really like. Yeah, Ancient Evils are cool as well. Any type of those special type of enemies are all fantastic, I think. And yeah, Mordor does have quite a few of them. Drakes are also cool. I really like the whole Drake area in Angmar. I think that is awesome. Going through there even over leveled is fun. Especially with the amount of animate. They used to have so many cool landscape animations, and there was even a whole dev diary on this back in the day, where they would actually animate the landscape, just the normal landscape mobs, kind of like they do in instances and things like that, where they'd be eating something or doing, you know, interesting animations like flying over like the drakes do and stuff like that. And just having much more interesting animations than just sitting here like these guys are. And so I kind of wish that they had done more of that on landscape, where there were more guys that did interesting animations. But I know animations are expensive, but I think that would make questing much more interesting when you have that environmental type storytelling, and it just adds to your own ability to make your own story and add that to whatever they write in the existing story. And so I think that would be really cool if they had more animated enemies. Because that's one thing Angmar did really, really well. Well, and there's like some like dragons and enemies and things like that that are chomping down on food, or like they're eating a kill that they just got. You know, obviously they didn't just get it, but it looks like that they are, and so it's pretty cool. And yeah, Thomas, they did bring it back a little bit in North Ithilien, where they had that one battle cat eating prey. That was pretty cool as well. And you know, they've done environmental storytelling a little bit in areas all over the place, where there's like the one cave in, I think it's in Dunland or somewhere, that has like all the blood and everything everywhere. I'm not wanting to spoil what actually is there, but that place is pretty cool. And just stuff like that. I wish there was more of that in Lotro. And it doesn't need to be all the time, because then it wouldn't be special anymore, but I feel like occasionally adding that in consistently would be pretty cool. Alright. Yeah, these type of enemies are cool. I really like them. Alright. There we go. And they explode. How can you not like that? Alright. And yes, I know that's the Karog we were talking about earlier. Come on. There we go. And yeah, this instance does occasionally have one if you get the right lieutenant. This one and Nerz-Gashu, I don't think any of the other ones have one. I think it's just this one and Nerz-Gashu. And Strike Air, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Okay. Yeah, destroy the interlopers. We've heard it all, but whoa. Hello, archer guy. Alright. Alright, thank you very much, Striker. Cool. Yeah, your beloved pet. Oh man. Well, you shouldn't have sent him to attack us. There we go. We need all this LI stuff anyway for our LIs because we don't have the right relics. Okay, so that got us to almost 101. I really just want to head to North Thillion, but I feel like I can't do that until I reach 101. And even that could be tough. I feel like I probably need to be 101 or 102. But I don't want to do these quests again. I don't know. We might end up doing those. We'll have to see. For now, though, I think we're going to go and do Attack at Dawn. Hopefully this will get us to level 101. Go, got him down. Cool. Easy peasy. Hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt me. There we go. Loot one so that we don't get any more. Alright, we're gonna leave instance and have this guy join our group. Get this going. Okay. There we go. I feel like we need to move away because there's a lot of lag here. I don't know if this is far enough away, but we're gonna try it here. Okay. Try attack it down again. And yeah, Matthew, I really like the night and day cycles for enemies. Like in the troll shahs, that the trolls only come out at night. That is a really cool feature. Okay. Oh, gotta be careful with him, because Priest of Vengeance. Yeah, he got defeated on that. Gotta be careful when there's a Priest of Vengeance around. There we go. Let's see. Time to figure out which one my res is. There we go. I think I might actually have more than one. No, it might just be that one. I guess I can't heal without switching lines here. There we go. Time to take on the whole world here. And looks like he's going ahead and taking on that room. I'm going to go ahead and move forward here and try to take on this next area. Hopefully we can take down the Priest of Vengeance before they do that. Okay, yeah, that hurt. Luckily we didn't die there. Okay, yeah, this was a mistake. We're just gonna run away now. Back towards our Bjorning friend. And of course there's Falconer. Okay, we should now be able to take this place over here. Here we go. Cannot do that in combat. Lame. Whoa, hello. Can we take it now? Yes, we can take it now. Awesome. Alright, welcome back, Bungorfians. Nice to have you here once again. Alright. There we go. Oh man, that's a lot of people. There we go. Okay. Hopefully reduce some latency by going offline on Steam. Alright, Bungorfian says, where'd you get the name Andeng from? It was actually a PvP name that I created for one of my PvP characters. It was just one of the prefixes and suffixes that was recommended, or one of the random names or something like that. I don't remember at this point. But created my character from that. And the main reason I created that is because I wanted something that was easy to pronounce so that I could use it when I was writing into one of the podcasts for the Lotro podcast that I like to listen to. I couldn't pronounce the name I had before, so I decided, why not Andeng? It's easy to pronounce, and I think they still mispronounced it the first time, but they got the hang of it and started to make a joke about it, and that's been my name ever since. So later on, I found out it actually means torch in Indonesian. Which I think is kind of fitting because I try to lighten up people's day and stuff like that, so I think it's kind of fitting. Whether or not I actually achieve that is of course to your discretion, but that's the goal. Okay, fight's over. Loot all that awesomeness. Okay, travel now. Okay, so we are so close to leveling up. We just need 6,800 XP and then we're good to level. That is so close. We're gonna get one more here. Let's see here. Chad Stew says attack at dawn. That is the one we just did. Debating which one we should be doing next. Yeah, let's do this defensive one.
The inhabitants of Bree have spent the occupation holed up within the Prancing Pony. Angered at their uprising, the brigands have decided to burn them out.
There we go. Taking forever to load. Alright. And yeah, there are lots of skirmish options in Lotro. I wish that there were more skirmish options in Lotro. Bungorfian says, are you going to do a stream tomorrow? Probably not. I might, but probably not. I do hope to do another one either Friday or Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. Kind of depends on how the beta is, if there's how many more videos there are to show and things like that will depend on if I have time to stream or not. But I do hope sometime this weekend to be doing another one of these streams. Level up! There we go! Level 101. That is awesome. Just 4 more to go. And yeah, skirmishing can get repetitive. I do really like it quite a bit though. I think that's a lot of the reason me and Pineleaf and I do a lot of stuff together is just because we both really like to skirmish. Thanks everyone for the congrats. Appreciate it. Hey Tanner, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Thanks for the subscription. Really do appreciate that. Tanner asks, can you get to 105 without membership or paying? Yes, you can. Most of the epic story is free. In fact, all of it except for the Helm's Deep area, which is like a 10 level part of it between 85 and 95. But besides that, all the story stuff, as far as epic story, so the main story, is free. And you can do skirmishes and all sorts of other different type of content that doesn't require you to pay at all. Not to mention the fact that they give you turbine points for just doing normal content. If you do certain deeds and things like that, then you can earn in-game Lotro points, which are the currency that you can use to buy expansions and quest packs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you can absolutely get to 105 without paying. And I know a lot of people that have done it. And in my opinion, Lotro is one of the best free-to-play models in any MMO. Although recently Guild Wars might have gotten a little bit better, but for the most part, it's one of the best. Mongorfian says, "Are you VIP ending?" I used to be. I was VIP for a couple years, and then decided that it wasn't really worth it, since you do get some VIP for me, and for other players it is, because you do get a lot of things unlocked by being VIP for a little bit. And then if you stop being VIP, those things remain unlocked, and so I decided I didn't need to continue to be VIP anymore. I started out being premium for like a year or two, then was VIP for a year or two, and now for another year or two I've been without VIP. So I've been actively playing Lotro since free-to-play back in 2010. And I've actually been in all the betas before that, so I've actually played since the original beta, but didn't have enough money for a subscription at the time, and I wish that I would have bought the lifetime. I really do, because I would have saved so much money, but hindsight, I guess. Mongorfian says, "Do you have your 10-year frame?" No, it was a different account, but I do have the, I believe this is 8-year. Maybe 7-year. Yeah, 8-year frame, so this account has been in existence for 8 years. I was in a free trial for Mirkwood or something like that on this account. Tenor asks, which class is better in your perspective? Well, that depends on what you want to be doing. If you want to do high DPS and things like that, then the Hunter, Loremaster, Champion, any of those are high DPS, even the Minstrel or anything like that. My current favorite class is the Loremaster, just because of their big amount of DPS that they can put out, plus you get a pet, and there's just a lot of fun gameplay that I think with Loremaster. And yeah, Chad Stu says that they get $10 from every month for over 5 years now. Technically, it's like $5 a month because of the turbine points, but yeah, they've more than paid for their initial purchase just in the amount of turbine points they've gotten back, let alone everything else they get as far as, you know, the zones being unlocked and things like that. So yeah, they've more than earned the lifetime that they bought. Alright, there we go. Very cool, and I think I'm actually going to go back to being solo right now just because I'm having some network issues, and usually being in a group is part of the problem of that, so hopefully we'll get that squared away. Mongorfian says, do you think they should have made the 10-year frame look better or more amazing? Yeah, I do. I think that they didn't do justice to it. They might be holding out for 20 years or something like that, but I don't think it looks the best. Or I guess 15 years would be the next one. But yeah, I think they could have done a better job. But, I mean, frame really isn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme of everything, so I think it fits the purpose enough. Alright, we're gonna start accepting some of these quests, I guess. Chad Stu says, how much do you think that they're going to ask for Mordor as far as money goes? I'm guessing 40. I'm guessing 40 bucks. That would be my estimate. That seems to be what basically everything since Isengard at least has cost. So I don't see any reason why they wouldn't charge 40 for Mordor. It's a 10 level expansion. I think that that's very likely. I'm having so much lag right now. I think it has to do with this part of the game, so... Oh my goodness, I'm being slingshotted around here. Alright, I think, even though I just accepted all those quests, that we're gonna have to move to a different area. Okay, guess we'll head up to that Stablemaster. Oh man, this is a nightmare riding through here with all the lag. Oh, we're stuck on more stuff. That's great. Thank you, Lotro. Alright. You know what, we can't do that with all the lag we're having. We'll walk out of town here. Mongorfian says, do you get your War Steed when you reach level 75? Yep, that's pretty much it. You can technically get it before then, like 5 levels before if you go there early at 71 or whatever that is, but... oh, they say, how do you get your War Steed when you reach level 75? Just through questing. You go through the Riders of Rohan questing, and it'll eventually give you your War Steed. Okay, we should be good to go now. once we get this stable unlocked, I'm definitely going to be going to Wildermore, I think, because usually that's fairly lag-free. And then just continue to do skirmishes for a little bit. Florence, welcome to chat. Nice to see you here. And they asked, do you need mentoring the drum? I got one on me. I do have a drum, I believe. So, I think I'm good playing it. Plus, I think the Minstrel already knows all the different things. I could be wrong on that. Mongorfian says, I hate burglars don't have healing skills. Yeah, I don't know really how healing would work with a burglar though. Unless you're like stealing morale from the enemy or something like that. But, yeah, not sure how that would work. Almost to Nardal here. One of the 7 major beacons. And yeah, Bergs do heal a little bit, but not that much. Alright, we took a wrong turn. And yeah, Chad Stu, I think it will be 3 different prices where it starts at 40 and can go all the way up to 60 with different models of each one. I think they've already said that there's going to be different models, at least, you know, one other one, so depending on which expansion you want to purchase will depend on what price it is. And I mean, that's all fairly typical stuff. I don't think there'll be anything out of the ordinary there based on what Cordovan's been saying.
I am afraid of what is happening to these lands.
Okay, there we go. For lag reasons, we're going to go to Wildermore. Hopefully that'll solve some things. Okay. We eject this too. There we go. Now, we should be good to go. Much less lag here. Hardly anyone's ever in Wildermore, so that makes the lag be so much better here. Okay. Let's see here. Guess we'll do Thievery and Mischief here.
While war raged
was
in the
weird
south
that
and
the
the
loading
ranges
screen
of the
totally
north
glitched
were
out there.
absent, brigands and ruffians took an opportunity to wrest control of Bree.
And we need repairs, but we're gonna go through the rest of this instance with before we do that. Skirmish. All that stuff. And I forgot there's a counterattack. That Pine Leaf has always warned me about. There you go. Fight Tangbo there. Come on, buddy. Almost got him. There we go. Good job. Alright, we're gonna back up and heal. Okay. Now that we reduce lag, I think we might re-invite the person that was in our group. And if anybody else wants to join in, feel free to send a tell to Staffdang, not Staffdang this time, Dangsong. Dangsong, D-A-N-G-S-O-N-G. And we'll get you out of the group. Alright, I'm going to leave this instance. And we're going to get this going. And Mongorfian says, do you have any other characters other than your champ, Loremaster, Minstrel? I have a champ, Loremaster, Minstrel, obviously, along with a Bjorning. And the Bjorning's really the only other one that I'm actively playing right now, but I think I do also still have... Lotro stopped working, apparently. That's just great. Okay, apparently we're going to have to relaunch Lotro here. Alright, well... That's weird. Like I said, I've been having weird issues tonight with Lotro, so... Once I get back loaded back in, feel free to send me another tell, the person that was trying to send me a tell earlier. Okay, let's get our windows all back in order here. Searching for login server. That doesn't sound good. Is anybody else having trouble with Lotro? That's really weird. Connection failed. Okay, we're gonna try something here. Is anybody else just came to you to see if it was only me? Okay, so apparently everybody is having issues with Lotro. Alright, we're going to try it again a couple more times, but if it doesn't come back, then we'll just move on, I guess, and end the stream there. That's very disappointing if that's where we have to end the stream. Alright. I don't think there's a downtime. There might be, but pretty sure there's not. I haven't checked yet today. Although it looks like we're loading in now. There we go. I guess they did a server reset because of all the server issues that were going on. Okay, that was weird. Let's get back in. And yeah, once again, Florence, feel free to send me a towel once you get loaded back in. Or put your name in the chat and I'll send you a towel either way. Your character name. And of course, anybody else that wants to join. Alright, let's go to a vendor now.
We travel swiftly, but we will aid you as best we may.
Repair all that stuff. And yeah, looks like it's time to sell off stuff. Alright, we'll keep that there for now. Map to the party tree, not usable in monster play. Map to the party tree in Abaddon. Don't need to keep that around. There we go. Definitely want to save that. Yeah, we got plenty of power. I don't think we need that one. That's enough for now. Not gonna bore everybody with selling off all of the stuff. Okay. Now that the servers are back, let's go ahead and get into a skirmish here. Let's actually do the same one that we were going to be doing. Solo, now duo.
While war raged in the south and the rangers of the north were absent, brigands and ruffians took an opportunity to wrest control of Bree.
Okay, here we go. Tyne says they have 3 Guardians, 2 Runekeepers, 3 Loremasters, a Champion, 2 Bergs, 3 Hunters, a Minstrel, and a Bjorning. You're beating me. I do have a Burglar that's like level 8 or something, and a Captain. I've made 2 Captains that both made it to like level 30 like 40 basically. But other than that, haven't done too much other classes. I do have a hunter on Arkenstone. That's like level 15. Now that we don't have all this lag, we're able to just roll right through this. Definitely needed that server reset or whatever that was that happened. There we go. I'm definitely ready for Mordor. They cannot get out soon. Alright, and Death42 in the chat, welcome. Nice to have you here. And they say, not making a high elf Cappy when they come out, Andang? No, I mean I might, just to see if it changed from beta once it comes out. But beyond just initial character creation, probably not going to be taking it very far. I do hope to eventually get my Bjorning back to leveling at some point, but that's not going to be happening till after Mordor, almost certainly at this point. And yeah, I'm just ready for Mordor. I know it's not ready for us, though. I think it needs definitely another round or two of testing. But I expected it to be out by now, and I'm not that surprised that it's not, but I'm just really ready for a big amount of new content, an expansion level new content. It's been so long that we've been waiting, and I can definitely wait a little bit longer, but I'm just ready. Part of that's because I finished my Epic Story series recording. I still have to release more of it, but I finished recording it, and so I feel like I'm kind of with that. I finished recording my War in the North series. I still have to release that, but finished recording that. And so as far as new Tolkien type stuff goes, there's not really anything until Lotro's Mordor expansion comes out, and then Shadow of War comes out later this year. So I feel like I'm just kind of in this limbo state where I'm waiting for this new content, but there isn't any. But once Mordor comes out, all that will be made right and good. And yeah, Death42, I would much rather they get it right than rush it. I absolutely agree. And they should take as long as they need to get it right. I completely agree. Especially since it was only 3 months ago that we had the last update. I think part of the reason is that the last update was not as big as previous updates had been, which is totally understandable when they're working on Mordor. But I kind of wish that, you know, I'm just ready for more content. But absolutely agree that they need to take all the time they need to get Mordor right, and it definitely needs more time based on what we saw in the second round of beta. Nothing bad about that, but just, you know, they still need to be polishing everything, and that type of stuff takes time. So there's still floors that you fall through and stuff like that, so they need to be getting all that stuff squared away. Snagburs. I've always thought his name was weird. And yeah, Chance Thomas still has not finished the music. He's getting pretty far along though by the sound of things. So it sounds like that he's not that far away from being done, but I don't think I know he's not finished yet, so I don't know, I guess, but I assume that he's not finished yet. Yes, the courtyard has been cleared. Now we can move on to the boss fight. And he reset, dang it. Alright, we're gonna move up this way. Bungorfians, that's awesome that you're making a channel and gonna start making Lotro vids. Send me a link on Twitter. Just send me a message over Twitter and I'll take a look. Alright, awesome. We won that boss fight twice, technically. Because that guy was basically done the first time. He only had like 50 morale or 100 or something. Alright. Travel now. Seeing through the world there. There's been so many weird server issues tonight. At least it's not laggy now. We hope. I should have never said that. But, you know, hopefully it'll stay that way. But they're having some major issues tonight. Okay, they didn't get out yet. There we go. You know what? Let's do Survival Barrow Downs, because why not? I don't do that one anywhere near enough as I
Those who
should.
have long haunted the Barrow Downs
I
at the
wish there were
command of
more
the Witch
survival
King
skirmishes.
are angered by your intrusion. Surviving is the least of your newfound concerns.
Alright. And yeah, Survival Barrow Downs is really hard, but I wish there were more of them so that it can be, you know, challenged for large groups and things like that. This one's actually a 3-man, so if anyone wants to join us, feel free to. Just tell Too Dang Song. We'll get you added to the group here. Death42 says it's probably everyone's spamming Tower of the Teeth and the waste causing lag again. It could be possible. I know that that did before. And yeah, you can't send your link here on YouTube, but you can send it if you message me on Twitter. Yeah, YouTube doesn't like links. It just assumes spam, which I kind of wish it didn't do. But at the same time, I get a lot of spam links from people wanting to sell all sorts of stuff. So it is nice that they do block that, but at the same time, when you actually want to share stuff, it's really annoying. You don't have Twitter. Okay, well, you said that was your name, so I'll try to check that out later. They might not be able to get in because I don't know if it locks it after you've already started. So let me know, person who just joined our group, if you can't get in. And we'll restart. They're AFK, that's right. There we go. That's what happens when you're paying attention to the chat and also trying to kill stuff. Alright, and yeah, YouTube is so hard. It's almost impossible to become a big YouTuber anymore, just because of how many YouTubers that there are. Hey, we made it for 5 minutes. That's a good thing. Beat phase 1 there. Heal for a little bit here. What I really need to do is upgrade Dengbo, because he's like level 60 right now as far as his actual skills go. What am I doing? I'm overhealing myself. Alright. Let me actually switch here and heal my soldier. Time to heal his soldier. And yes, there's not going to be a power issue in this group. Alright, once we make it to 10 minutes, I think we're going to leave, and then that way we can add in the third person here. Magnorfian says, when you're on with Pineleaf, are you both on Skype? We're actually on Discord because Skype is so horrible with connections anymore that we can't use Skype. Especially while streaming. It's horrible while streaming. It's such a resource hog that it takes up way too much to use while streaming. And so we use Discord, which is basically a gaming version of Skype without video. Similar to TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or any of that type of stuff. Grow in power. No! Don't grow in power. It would probably also help if I had on target assist. Hey, there we go, 10 minutes. Alright. Okay, there we go. Wait for them to retreat. Okay. Hopefully that's a new one, and we can be loaded on in here. Cool. All right, here we go. Okay, much easier with the second bear. Mongorfian says, our stream's meant to be long. Yes. Yeah, I try to go anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours on a stream. Anything longer than 3 hours, and I just gotta get up and move around. Sitting is actually the leading cause of heart attacks, which is the leading cause of death. So sitting's actually extremely dangerous if you don't move around while you're sitting and get up occasionally, and so that's why I refuse to stream longer than that. I know some people pull like all day streams. I used to do like weather talk streams and stuff like that, but can't anymore just because of talking to like cardiologist friends that tell how horrible that is, and so I can't do that anymore. And yeah, it's been 2.5 hours. But yeah, the first 5 minutes when you're in a group of 3 is really easy. Almost a little too easy. But it gets a lot harder later on. One of my favorite modes in just gaming in general is Horde Mode, where they send a ton of enemies, you know, of increasing difficulty over time. That's why I love Nord Invasion so much, which is a mod for Mount & Blade. If you haven't seen it, I got like a 70 video series on my channel. That's why I enjoyed that series so much, is because it was just so much fun to be able to fight wave after wave, and in that Viking setting it was really cool, and it was like games like this. Mongorfian says, if it's 2.5, then why does it say 3? I don't know. On my end, it says I've been going for 2.5 hours. Landon, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. And yeah, doing a live broadcast here in Lotro. I started at 9 Eastern, which was 2.5 hours ago, so unless I somehow time traveled, or YouTube's being extremely weird, which would not surprise me given all the issues I've had with Lotro tonight, then I don't think that I've been going for 3 hours quite yet. It's possible it just rounds up the hour, I don't know, because it is a little over 2.5 hours now. Now things are starting to get a bit serious. We're still under the 5 hour mark, or 5 minute mark. If I remember right, Barrow Downs ends after an hour, so. Lennon said I was going to go to bed as I'm up by 5:30 each morning, but screw it, this is more important. Sleep is really important, man, but thank you so much for staying up and watching. That is really cool. I think what I'm gonna do, not tonight, but in a future stream, is get to 102, and then might make my way into the Lone Lands. And yeah, there is a timer of how long you've made it so far. In the Lone Lands, what am I talking about? This is what happens when I'm doing things and trying to talk about plans. Then I'm going to make my way into North Athelion and do the March of the King type stuff. Is what I think would be the most interesting. Because I really, as cool as the beacons and everything are, the questing there I just don't enjoy that much. And yes, it's awesome that we have a Bjorning here that's healing. That is fantastic. Let's see, we got just two enemies right now. One with 3 closing in. Anthony, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. I want to make a tune on your server and just play with you guys. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I hope to get back into my Bjorning soon so that I can be doing more lower level stuff. Even though that's not exactly low level because I think it's around level 40, but that's much easier to achieve than level 100 when you're not on your main server, so. And says Landerville and Arkenstone are the most popular servers now, aren't they? I don't know. I'm pretty sure Brandywine is still by far the largest, as when the server merges happened, Brandywine was larger than the other 4 US servers. So, and I think they might have even said larger than all the other servers combined. So, Brandywine was huge then, and I doubt the other servers have caught up that much since then, so. Take out all these light bulbs here. Almost to 10 minutes. Bungorfian says, do you think it's fair that enemies 8 levels under you can hurt you and are high elves your favorite? I do think it's fair, as most MMOs will have like level 1 still attacking you even if you're really, really high. Lotro is one of the few MMOs that actually makes it to where once you're over a certain level, enemies stop attacking you. I think that it's an amazing feature. I think that the amount of levels that it is makes sense. I don't think they need to really change that right now. I think because of how people quest, where sometimes they're questing way under level if they do every single quest, I think it makes sense that enemies that far under level attack you. Death42 says Ark's the biggest now. A lot left and came to Ark. I have no idea. I know a lot of people get like the data from certain sites and stuff like that and say it's accurate, but I don't know how accurate those actually are to the official numbers because of the way that they calculate it. It's only based off of somewhat local stuff and not exactly the overall, so I don't know. I still have yet to find a site that I 100% trust the numbers on. And I visited like 6 or 7 of those different sites that track the servers. And if they were all the same and overlapped each other, then maybe I would believe them, but they don't. And so that's part of the reason. See, we gave up that power and now we're wishing we didn't. Never sold that power. Right, we should have done that first before any of this happened. We are having a really tough time here. There we go, that heal finally came through. Okay, we're gonna try to heal them now. And how many Kens you've seen. Yeah, that makes sense. And, nope, high elves are not my favorite, as you can probably tell by the video I made on them. I'm not doing anything right now because I'm not in the right line. That's not very good. There we go. We're getting close on 15 minutes now. We are going to be without power in the very near future. Do minstrels have a power skill? I don't remember. It hasn't been an issue the entire time I've been on this class. I have never been without power, as far as I can remember. And yeah, I've already voiced my opinions on the High Elf, and so if you want to know them, you can watch the video, but I'm not going to reiterate them here. Having such a tough time just getting power. Do we have any other... There's another power thing. There we go, killed off that one. Let's see, is this the healing one or the other one? I think that's the healing one. I don't remember which one's which. Alright. Oh, and there's another revive skill. Well, there, I mean. I guess we got 2 revive skills. Let's actually move that one over so that we can remember that. Oh gosh. I don't have enough power. Alright, I think we're gonna just take a little easy for a little bit, hopefully gain some power here. See if there's anything else in our inventory we can use. Alright, that's up again. I guess we can do a hope token. There we go. You're welcome, everybody. I think that's everything. I really wish we did not sell those power things earlier, because we need them now for the first time in ever. We're gonna switch to heal Dangbo. Oh, Dangbo healed. Cool. Wait a second. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it anymore. We need to move back over to the healing bear. I don't think a break's going to be happening at this point in the game. Because I think Cram only does it out of combat. No, it's in combat, okay. And we do need to have that happen, but we can't yet. Should have done that beforehand. Yes, Landon, the only time a Daleman's Cram has ever been useful. Alright, we've almost made it to 20 minutes here. No. No, we're stunned. No! Oh no. We're still getting XP at least. I'm feeling the Bjornings are going to be able to make it quite a lot longer than I did. Okay. Well, this ally is finally almost leveling up. I can't believe we haven't leveled up more allies this whole time. Okay. Does the Bjorning have a res in combat? I don't think they do. I don't remember. they're really struggling now. Not having that third person really does make a big difference. Just to be able to share enough morale around. And doing that little bit of extra damage. Alright, we just passed over 20 minutes. Yeah, I didn't think they did have an in-combat res. Oh man, they're having a tough time. There's even more still coming in. This instance really does get ridiculous. Imagine this at 106 with the increased Mordor difficulty. Oh man, it would be just ridiculous. Yeah, because clearly they should be growing in power right now. Oh man, they're both getting low on morale. Oh, they're coming back up a bit. I think this lower one is gonna go soon. Oh man, he went way down real quick. Oh, they're fighting. They are fighting. There we go, last one standing. I think it's gonna end right here. But maybe not. Oh, he's so close. Oh, there we go. 22 minutes. Okay. That happened. And yeah, Death 42, I'm really wondering what the raid is going to be as well. My guess, they said that there's going to be multiple things that are Shelob related, so I'm guessing that the raid's going to be Shelob related. But who knows? Okay, that one was too hard, so let's just do the next to hardest one, which is Icy Crevasse. If I had upgraded Dengbo more, then we probably would have lasted another couple minutes. And I don't know what you mean by IP codes on Twitter, Bungorfians. Oh, a Palantir retrieval mission would be so cool. That would be really cool. I'm right there with you. That would be a cool instance, right through Barad-dûr and all that stuff. The Dungeons of Barad-dûr would be an awesome instance, I have a feeling. Even after Sauron's defeat. Or how cool would it be if the instances took place during, like, the fall of Sauron or something like that, like right when it happens. I don't know how they would make that work from a lore perspective, though. Alright, Landon. Feel free to go to sleep. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, I don't know about any LP codes on Twitter either. Okay, we have actually gained 2 levels on all of the different things here, so that's cool. Slowly gaining in power here. Our ally's nowhere near where it needs to be. But that'll come in time. At least we actually have a level 100 now. It was so bad that we didn't before. But we do now, so that's good. What I'm wondering is if they're going to do code giveaways for the Mordor expansion on Twitter and stuff like that, because I remember they did giveaways for Helm's Deep, so I'm wondering if they're going to be doing similar things for Mordor. Did we take that place? Yeah, we did. Okay. There we go, 190 marks for that. Got 2 of those. This actually looks pretty cool that they're doing that in sync. There we go, got them both. Allies leveling up. With the right allies. And yeah, Cordovan did say that they're going to be doing another dev stream thing, and so I'm expecting either this week or next week on Thursday to be getting a lot of news as far as release date, pre-orders, all that stuff. Because, I mean, it should be any day now. It really should have been announced already, in my opinion. But that's just me. I feel like after the first week of beta, they should have gone ahead and opened up pre-orders. But I can understand why they're waiting too. But I don't know, it just feels like they're kind of stifling excitement by not having pre-orders up yet. But maybe they're still working on getting stuff ready for pre-orders, I don't know. That says, I want to know too so I can book a week off just to play Mordor. Yeah. Okay, why are the two of them waiting here? Don't tell me we got to the boss fight and now they're linked dead or something. No! Come on, guys. Okay. I definitely can't do this 3-man by myself. I'm gonna wait a couple seconds here, and if not, then I guess we'll try it on our own. And yeah, it is possible that they might be working with vendors and stuff like that and waiting for Steam to go through, but I don't think they can wait that long. I feel like that's going to be a much longer thing. They might also have to get it approved by daybreak and stuff like that, so I don't know what the process is. Oh, yeah, they just both went link lost. Alright, we will wait like a minute or so, but if they don't come back, then we'll have to be moving on. But yeah, and they gotta get the Steam stuff worked out because Steam was such a good opportunity for them. I feel like when they went on Steam, there were so many new players in just that first week. And if they can put new expansion on there, that is going to get a lot of players to be looking at Lotro. That is so much free advertising that they get just by being on Steam. Somewhat free. That Steam does take a cut, but if they can get the expansion on Steam, I think that would be a really big deal. Alright, another 30 seconds or so, and if they don't come back, then we will do one final skirmish after. And yeah, Bungorfians, the game itself is still on Steam. The packs and everything are not on Steam as far as I understand, or at least they can't be updated. Yeah, that's the thing, is they can't sell expansions and things like that right now through Steam. Alright, we're going to attempt this solo. There's no way this is going to work out. But here we go. We're going to see how far we get. My guess is not even past the next part after this. If our soldier was upgraded a little bit more, maybe. There we go. Okay, now we got some mobs to take out. No way we're gonna survive this. Wait, what? Did it reset? Yeah, it reset. Alright, leave instance. Good to know that a flop causes that to happen in an instance. Alright, just so that there's a satisfying ending of the stream, I'm going to do one more skirmish. And once again, weird server issues continue. There we go. Alright, let's see. Fellowship. Disband. Cannot disband here. What? Okay. Dismiss. There we go. Dismiss. That's weird. I'm telling you what, the servers have been very weird. Alright, we're gonna do Methodris one quick more time.
While the Grey Company journeyed south to the aid of Aragorn, we came upon a Dunlanding hag named Gwillian, called the Old Woman of the Mountain. She sought to raise an army of ancient evil to aid the White Hand against Rohan. It was our duty, Amlon's and mine, to keep her at bay.
Yeah, I don't know what's been going on tonight, but there have been major server issues where the server literally disconnected and you couldn't reach the server, and there's been crazy stuff, and it's been causing lag on my stream actually because of that. But it's not been lag on my end. And no worries, Florence. No worries at all. Crashes happen, and I mean, I got disconnected tonight too, so weird stuff's been happening tonight. No worries at all. Not only did I have that connection issue, but I also had the issue where it booted me out too, so definite server issues. Yeah, it probably wasn't even on your end, Florence. Florence, I did die, but it was my choice to die. You went Link dead at just the perfect time, where the fight had just ended, and then I decided to go into the final boss fight just to see what would happen, and I knew I wasn't gonna make it. There's the boss here. Corfian says, I wonder how long the Mordor update will take. A long time. Longer than the past two beta updates have taken, because everybody will be patching Mordor at the same time. And so it'll take a very long time. But that's normal for launch day type stuff. Not normally necessarily, but sometimes they'll preload stuff ahead of time so that the patch on the day the expansion comes out isn't that long. We'll see if they do a similar thing this time. I'm guessing they will, they usually do. There we go, we're going to heal a little bit here. Buncorfian says you should probably load it like 2 to 3 days later. Yeah, a lot of players won't even play the first week an expansion comes out just because of how many players there are playing that first week. And because I do YouTube stuff and my YouTube series, I will be playing it day one. If I can, I'll be trying my hardest to get a video out. And yeah, less than we might expect, but still a long time. Still longer than a normal update. Because they preload normal updates too. Were they really not in combat for that whole thing? Alright. Stefan, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. And they say I usually wait 2 weeks. Too many people crying the quest and it's usually bugly anyway, so they might do an update. Yeah, they usually do a week 1 patch at the very least, sometimes even sooner than that. So yeah, it usually is very good to wait, but I'm not going to, obviously, because that's what I do here on my channel. So if at all possible, I'll get it to you guys as soon as I can. I cannot wait for the epic story. That's probably going to be the first part of the update based on how we currently have to enter Mordor. I'm guessing you have to finish the epic story before you're going to be able to actually enter Mordor. So I don't know how that's going to work with people who haven't been doing the epic story up until this point. So that's going to be an interesting thing to find out once launch day hits. I'm guessing it's like most epic books. Not most, but some epic books where you can resume at certain points. I'm guessing since it's the start of the expansion, that'll be the same thing for Mordor. Okay, that was a little bit too close, but kind of our own fault because we cleared out this whole area at the same time. And yeah, I really would have much rather had a new class than a new race, or even just a different new race that was not similar to the existing ones. Like something totally different. I don't even know what it would be, but it would have been nice to have something really, really different. almost ready for reforged. If we could get this one to be reforged along with the rest of these that are already there, that would be so great. I don't think it's going to happen just by the end of this skirmish. And yes, High Elf Minstrels and Lore Masters will be all over the place. Come on. There we go. Let's see if we get that LI upgrade. There we go. It also needs reforged. Cool. That solves all those problems, and we gained another level on this LI. Fantastic. Just growing in power all over the place. Alright, well that does bring this stream to a close. It has been an interesting stream where there's been server issues and all sorts of crazy stuff with people connecting and disconnecting. Hopefully they'll get that squared away before tomorrow even. I mean, they need to get that squared away definitely before Mordor, because that type of server issue just on a normal Wednesday night is not acceptable when Mordor is going to be coming out soon. So I don't know what the issue was. Sometimes it's even way out of their hands where there's an internet server that's having a huge issue, like of the actual internet, which has happened several times to Lotro before. So, you know, you can't always control everything, but if it is in their control, I hope they get it sorted out before Mordor, because they need to. So, thank everyone so much for joining. It really was a lot of fun just having a lower key stream. It's nice to have these lower key streams. I enjoy having the diverse type of content where, you know, the edited videos are very, you know, highly structured and set up in a certain way, but these streams are just, you know, nice and laid back and a different style of video, and so I really enjoy making them. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching them. You seem to, because they get quite a bit of views all the time, and they usually have a good amount of likes. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, by the way. I really do look at that. That does help me gauge if you guys enjoy what I'm making and things like that. And yeah, I do plan to be returning to do a stream sometime later this week, hopefully. I don't know when. It all depends on how the beta goes and just how real life goes over the next few days, but hopefully I'll be able to do one. Depending on how the beta is and, you know, what all new stuff there is, I'm assuming there's not going to be that much new between now and then. I might be regretting those words, but I'm assuming there's not going to be that much new on this third build. There usually isn't as much new on the third build, and so I'll probably be doing a stream, probably one Saturday in the afternoon would be my guess, at the normal like 4 Eastern time, which used to be the Lotro Players Adventures time back when we did that show. By the way, thank you everyone who's been supporting Lotro Players Adventures as the re-release has been coming out. For those of you that might not have noticed, that show ended 2 years ago, and I am finally finishing out that series because we had the first like 36 episodes on my channel, and then we moved it over to the Players Alliance channel. I decided to bring that back to our channel, Decided to bring that back to our channel, just so that we can all be re-experiencing Lotro Players Adventures and finally have that full playlist of 50 episodes. I might do the same thing for Lotro Players News bloopers at some point. I'm still debating on that. I definitely won't be doing anything that's happened since I've left that show, but I think I do want to finish out the bloopers for Lotro Players News. I'm not going to re-upload the news episodes because it's old news and isn't relevant anymore, really. But I feel like Adventures really does stand the test of time, at least as long as Lotro's still around. So I'm really proud of those videos, and hopefully you guys are still enjoying those. I really enjoy them. So I think that's everything. I'm looking forward to the stream tomorrow at noon that Cordovan will be doing. Hopefully there will be some big news. I say that as if I know for sure it's happening. I don't know for sure because today's a holiday. Not today, because this week's a holiday week. I don't know for sure if they will be streaming tomorrow, but if they are, I'm looking forward to it because there should be some news. So hopefully there will. And Bram, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining here at the end. Do appreciate it. If you want to watch the whole stream back through, you can watch that live right now by rewinding and going back to the beginning. And of course it'll be up after till the end of time, basically. So, and Death says, so many Lotro streams and things to watch now between YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be Lotro fans. There's so many people involved in the community. It is so exciting. Every time that there is a big update or an expansion, content creators all come flooding back into the community, and there's a bunch of new ones that start up. Hopefully this time, it hasn't happened yet, but hopefully this time there will be a large number of players that will stick with it after Mordor and keep playing and just keep growing that community and getting it to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because I'm so tired of seeing 95% of the content creators leave and never come back. Luckily, Cordovan is really pushing for the stream team and stuff like that, and I think that really helps keep them together and keep them more involved in the community, because there's a team that they're a part of and they feel like more of a cohesive group, and it's a special thing because you're promoted by the actual game company. And so I think that that is a fantastic thing that Cordovan has set up, and I really hope that we can see more streamers continue to do Lotro stuff. It really does need to happen. It's vital to make sure that the community continues to be growing and staying active in Lotro. Lotro's community is one of the best, and it's all because of you guys. You guys make that happen through your involvement, and you know, streamers play a role, and everybody that plays a role. There's so many events that are going on in Lotro that never even get covered by anything major, and it's just so cool to see all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's the end. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Once again, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give a like down below, and I'll see you again for more news, hopefully, later this week. But that's not till next time, and I'll see you again for another stream. But that's not till next time. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more of these Lotro streams. I'm enjoying them. Hopefully you are as well.